So we're going now. What's up, Connor? We're back for the 78th edition, a very special 78. Because 78 is everybody's favorite number. It's a prime number. It's prime for a come up here in 2020. So what's up?
Not a lot, Sam. Not a lot. Just not a lot up. I mean,
you got any 78 thoughts?
No. The only thing I was thinking of was it's somewhere around this time that we recorded our very first episode, because I saw a PFF article of the draft board of the 2021 draft class. And so I remember one of our first ones was the 2019 draft class.
So 2 years ago we painstakingly went line by line through that little thing.
Yeah, and that was dumb. But in this one, the only thing I think I looked at was I didn't realize how far Trey Lance was shooting up the draft boards.
Yeah, that's what I had heard too. Some other content I've been consuming. They're big on Trey Lance up there as a contender with right in the same ballpark as Trevor Lawrence and
Justin Fields.
Yep. Those guys.
Yeah, I didn't quite realize the optimism surrounding. I knew he was going to be a top quarterback prospect, but I didn't realize that. Yeah, he was. I mean, this year really. I mean, it sucks that all these programs are getting canceled because it means that he likely won't get an opportunity to play.
Yeah, because their season's canceled in the Summit League or whatever they play.
Yeah.
Okay, here they're down to a single non-conference game. I think I remember reading something that they were trying to schedule anybody in the FBS that was still playing. Okay. Here they're down to a single non-conference game against North Carolina A&T, and that game is now canceled.
Whoops. Whoopsies. Yeah. So, anyway, I didn't read a ton up on Trey Lance, but apparently he's the bigger, better version of Carson Wentz, basically, coming out of that school.
That's kind of scary to think about, because Carson Wentz is pretty good.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Yeah.
So it is interesting just having three pretty viable quarterback options. I mean, it's kind of disappointing for Trey Lance because it'd be interesting to see somebody like that unseat, Justin Fields / Trevor Lawrence if either of them would have had a down year this coming year. But as it stands, it'll likely be those top two guys and then Trey Lance somewhere else, just because nobody's probably going to end up playing. Even if these teams have spring leagues, certainly none of these top dudes are going to play in it. With that being said, yeah.
There was some Todd McShay. He was projecting, his recommendation was pretty much, if you're going to be if you're a pick in the first, if you're anticipated at all to go in the first 4 rounds, absolutely do not play. After that, maybe, and then if you're undrafted, on down, or underclassmen, not even draft eligible, then sure, play in the spring, there's a limited risk there. And also kind of on the flip side of that, some of these guys hey, this time last year, where was Joe Burrow on the draft boards?
That's true.
Not anywhere. He was a fringe draft. He was a day 3 guy for sure, if at best, going into his last season, and then has that breakout senior year and is the number 1 overall pick, and that's been the trend the last couple of years. Tua was a known commodity going into last season, so him going high in the draft wasn't surprising by any means. But the actual number 1 overall pick the last couple of years has been has really come about via that season, their last season in college, all the momentum behind that year. Kyler Murray, same thing. Baker Mayfield wasn't thought of as a number one pick guy going into his last year at Oklahoma.
Even the draft day, it wasn't really anticipated he'd be taken number 1 overall. It was almost Darnold the entire way, and it was kind of a surprise when the Browns took Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, so if there's no season, if there's no tape from that his entire last year, then he's certainly not shooting that far up into the first round.
No, definitely not.
So It's going to be really interesting to see kind of what gems, like in 5 years when we do the thing that we like to do, where we look back at the draft and be like, oh man, I can't believe Team X passed on player Y.
Oh my God, it's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a mess because there's going to just be guys that you're going to get in the 5th round that have no business actually being in the 5th round.
No, you're going to
guys
get
that go
all
in the
these
first round, or vice versa. Yeah, that are complete busts that have absolutely no business being in the first round. That go that high and don't pan out more so more egregiously than they otherwise normally would with the full slate of due diligence and tape available.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it'll be hilarious to look at. My favorite is going down Wikipedia and they highlight all the like Pro Bowl and All Pro dudes with like yellow, and it's great to scroll down a couple of times and get into those mid rounds and it's like, oh, there's somebody, like there's like some 5th round dude who's an All Pro.
And the one guy in the 5th round who's good.
Yeah, exactly. And this year, I mean, it'll be funny because I'm sure there'll be more than a few of those kinds of dudes. Another thing I was also thinking about was some of these running back dudes who chose to go back for another year. This was kind of a unique year because it felt like there were a couple of dudes who went back who probably could have come out, like Travis Etienne and Chuba Hubbard.
Wait, say that again.
I think
Travis Etienne?
That's not it, is it?
Etienne.
Etienne. Whoops.
And Chubbs Hubbard.
Yeah. Etienne. Well, they both chose to go back to school, which is kind of weird. Typically, the dudes who our top running back prospects want to get out of the university system as soon as possible. Both of these dudes definitely could have come out, and they chose to go back for kind of inexplicable reasons. Certainly, Travis Etienne was expected to come out, and then he didn't, despite having a pretty decent showing. He was expected to be probably taken somewhere in the same range as J.K. Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor, honestly. So I think both of them kind of get like almost a gimme because they're both almost certainly going to get taken with in the top tier of running backs, despite not playing anymore and not getting any more wear and tear on their legs.
Well, at this point, it looks like both of them are going to play, right?
Yeah.
ACC and Big 12 are still, as of right now, going on.
Yeah.
But, you're right. There will be a little less wear and tear, a few less carries with the reduced schedule this year. But obviously, that could all change within a matter of any day here. Big 12 and ACC could come out and say, nope, we're not going. Change their mind, we're done. And then they'll have a protest at their league office from the parents, and do that whole song and dance. That was a reference to the Big Ten doing that. The Big Ten parents doing that today.
Yeah, that was something. Them shouting at probably an empty building.
Yeah, empty building. Everybody, the Kevin Warren and the entire Big Ten staff working from home.
Yeah. Anyway, I just looked this up. Actually, this is more of a fun fact. I can't tell if this is a like a joking thing, but it was somebody wrote an article and posted a video of Travis. I don't want to try to pronounce the way Travis that he pronounced Etienne. It. Well, he is this whole article and thing on how his last name is French, and he's like, I'm tired of people butchering his name. It's pronounced Etienne. I'm trying to play it back and pronounce it. Etienne.
Oh, so is it not Etienne?
No.
Oh.
It's like it's close to that. I think it's probably when they say it on the broadcast, it'll be that because I think the last part is sort of a French inflection thing. Etienne. Let me look up another pronunciation thing.
Well, this is the our semi-annual linguistics episode.
Yeah, exactly. It's bound to happen. I don't know. I butcher a ton of dudes' names all the time, where I just don't. I don't remember. I don't know how to pronounce their name. Anyway, so there you have it, guys. Yeah, your little historical linguistic lesson. Yeah, for the day. His name is French.
Okay, well, here's from GreenvilleOnline.com. Most local and national media members have pronounced his last name like the letters ETN. ETN. However, back in Louisiana, the predominant pronunciation is HN. HN with a Cajun twist. And there's Jesus. There's a picture of him running with the ball, and it's Travis HN, and then it's just in big block letters, Run Balaya instead of Jambalaya.
Oh fuck! Oh god damn it!
That's a good pun.
Oh fuck! Well, that'll transition into a good thing because I can't. So, I had a gum graft, and the dentist told me to not laugh for a little while. Because when I laugh, the gums, like your cheeks are strong enough to pull like the gums away from the sutures, like the stitches that they put in there. So this whole week, man, trying not to laugh is like pretty difficult, in fact. And in a lot of these meetings that I've had, man, you should have seen it. In a lot of these meetings that I had through Teams and stuff, like, for the first couple of days, I like straight up, like, the side of my mouth, it was like really hard to even move, just because it was like kind of swollen and it was stitched up, and like whenever somebody would say something that I was like, I should laugh at this, I had to do this weird laugh that like basically my mouth remained closed. And it just looked like I was being an asshole, because just like
laughing through your teeth,
pretty much, and like, or doing this weird wry half smile because I can't smile with half my mouth, so just like smile with half my mouth and like kind of laugh and and then try to compose myself because it like I'm not supposed to laugh or pull that side of my mouth.
I feel like trying not to laugh would be harder than. I feel like that would just make it worse than just laughing normally. Maybe not, but I feel like trying to be conscious about not. This is like one of those fucking YouTube compilations, that try not to laugh challenge videos that are like a half hour long.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Never mind. I don't know. It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Anyway,
so
just side tangent on those fucking compilations. I thought that was always so stupid. Like, try not to laugh. Like, okay, what? So I got to sit here and not laugh for 25 minutes at this stupid compilation? I bet you one of these things is probably funny. One of these things will probably get me.
I think I always get intimidated by those because they're so damn long.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, one of these is probably pretty funny.
Well, and then I didn't laugh at the whole thing. Well, what was the purpose of that? I just denied myself all this fun and jolly good YouTube wholesome content.
Yeah.
Not having fun?
Am I not allowed to have fun?
Yeah,
because you told me.
And then the great line from the School of Rock: "What's the prize?" Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Shout
so
out
YouTube.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick before we get too far away from this 2021 mock draft that I was going to say before that they have us taking the Packers, that is, taking Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota.
All right.
You sign me up.
That sounds like another quarterback to me.
What? You do not know who Rashad Bateman is?
No, I'm saying every mock draft this year had us taking a receiver.
Yeah.
I'm making
That's
a
right.
joke.
I see what you did now.
They're going to trade
I
up.
see.
They're going to trade up and get Trey Lance.
Fuck, dude.
Dude,
Don't say that. Don't you put that evil on me.
We're just going to stock up on quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, I'm going to get away from the mock draft stuff with the Packers now.
We have plenty of time to delve into that later.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of that, I sent Sam an article earlier this week where the NFL shut down basically like entertainment folks, cheerleaders. Who did they say else? Was it media?
Mascots.
Mascots. That's what it was.
That was the big one.
So that pretty much puts the nail in the coffin for us. We weren't listed in the article, obviously. Why would we be? But like, that's like if there was any sliver of hope to have us come back in any sort of capacity, I mean, it was pretty much dashed away by that.
Yeah. Which means I didn't change my thoughts on anything. That's pretty much what I expected to hear at some point in time here.
I honestly thought we were never going to hear anything. We just like wouldn't show up. Like, I honestly like would have believed if like nobody said anything and Patrick just didn't get any word and we just didn't do anything because nobody specifically said we could or could not come.
We're just in this enigma position, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't know. Do we go? Should I stay or should I go?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, just in principle, it's nice just to know definitively one way or another, which we know now. So now we can move forward accordingly.
Yeah.
With generating our alternative programming from a virtual standpoint, which it's a completely different ball game for us than we're used to doing in TundraTenor, but it'll be exciting. It'll be something different. It'll be fun. It's better than nothing. Better just not saying, well, try again next year.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. We'll see what's in store. We might do. I'm hoping that we're able to put together some virtual thing. I, don't even know what that would entail, but we'll see.
Above my pay grade.
That's right. So I think what we have in store. So on Sunday, actually, we have our TundraTenor plus also other people draft, and we're doing a 10-team half PPR Superflex league, which I'm excited to do. So in order to kind of prep for that, I figured Sam and I would do a quick AI mock draft here, just kind of see what we can get with a little bit more realism attached to it. As I was explaining to Sam before with the settings here in Sleeper, for some reason, everybody behaves well except for the Sleeper ranking of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is inexplicably really low. I don't know why. It's like who is he right above? He's right above Kerryon Johnson in RB rankings.
No.
He's
Incorrect.
below Le'Veon Bell.
Incorrect.
Yeah. So anyway, put Sam in here so we could try to figure some stuff out. So I think we can just.
Yeah, you're picking third. I'm picking ninth.
Yes.
Out of 10 teams here, so I get 2 at the turn, which I'm fine with.
Yeah. So we were gonna try to roll with this, see what happens. Let me pull this up real quick. Make sure I can start this whole thing. PPR draft. Oh, yes, begin draft.
Let's go.
Here we go. All right.
Fire it up.
So Christian McCaffrey and Pat Mahomes off the board. Oh, wow.
Oh, Mahomes going 2. That was not. I did not expect that.
Okay.
That seems high.
Well, jeez.
What'll it be?
So I'll go through my live thoughts here. I'm really torn between Saquon and Lamar Jackson. it would really be nice to get Saquon because that would be a big weight off my shoulders in terms of, having. I'm going to go Saquon.
Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Lamar Jackson, Ezekiel Elliott, all picked by AI. That leaves me with a couple choices here. A lot of choices, more than a couple. Right now, Sleeper is projecting here at 9, best player available, Deshaun Watson, then Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Russell Wilson. I went heavy stacking receivers in the Dynasty draft, and I really kind of like the way that turned out. I guess my plan here, the rest of this mock, would be to get a quarterback a little higher than what I did in the Dynasty draft. So I was kind of stuck with Kirk Cousins, middle of the road quarterback, and there's a big run in one of the rounds of that. But I think I'm going to go receiver here, go Devontae Adams, and I'll try and get DeAndre Hopkins at the turn.
Whoops.
Nope, that didn't work. So Deshaun Watson
Julio's still there.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson goes 10, DeAndre Hopkins goes 11 for in the second round here. So now it's back to me. Yeah, receivers, Julio and Tyreek Hill.
Or Derrick Henry's still on the board.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Oh fuck! I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill.
Oh boy.
So this is just matching my Dynasty draft so far.
I don't know about that one. All right, so Sam took Tyreek Hill, and following that, Russell Wilson went off the board, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs. Wow. I'm mad Julio Jones went off. I would have definitely taken him. So now we're here.
Yeah, I just have it stuck in my head that Julio doesn't score touchdowns, even though I don't think that's really a thing anymore. That was just like 1 year.
I think that was just 1 year, and then he did end up scoring touchdowns at some point. Boy. A lot of good people still on the board. I think what I'm going to do is, looking at this list here, I think I got to go Joe Mixon. All right, so Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, and Travis Kelce went off the board. So now here I am sitting at the 3-3 spot.
You're good at running back.
Yep. So now
running back for a little while.
I probably got to go quarterback here, and I didn't even notice this. So, Dak Prescott's still on the board. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Go have him.
Yeah, I was on one of the Fantasy Pro podcasts. It was interesting. Not to cut into your live thing here, but the Cowboys, I think, their yards per average on a per play basis, I think was higher. It was number 1 in the league last year.
Okay.
In terms of passing efficiency.
Okay.
Anyway.
I think, I'm looking here. I'm up. I got 30 seconds. Receiver, I'm pretty solid at for now with taking 2. A bunch of receivers just came off the board, so I'm not going to chase there. I'm going to go running back. I'm going to get my guy, Kenyon Drake.
Oh, Kenyon Drake's still there.
Oh, and then I'm going to go again, and I'm going to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, god damn it.
In the 4th.
That somewhat worked.
That's, I think I gotta go quarterback next pick, but to you, I acquiesce.
All right, so in between me and Sam the first time, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Kenny Galladay, Miles Sanders, Mike Evans went off the board. Following Sam's pick, Leonard Fournette and George Kittle. Sam took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then Josh Allen, Melvin Gordon, Cooper Kupp, Drew Brees, Chris Carson. So things are starting to thin out a little bit at the quarterback position. Running back is also starting to thin out pretty good, with Chris Carson being the last person taken off the board. So I think, boy, I'm going to go wide receiver, I think, with this pick. Looking at my options here, I got to go with Calvin Ridley there, I think.
All right, so you're stacking. Oh, never mind.
I'm not stacking anybody.
Never mind. Calvin Ridley does not play for the Cowboys.
So OBJ, Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen went off the board. So I'm glad that I took Calvin Ridley because certainly one of those picks probably would have been him. And then Bell went off the board, which kind of sucks because I was planning on taking him as my RB3. Looking at the board, though, it looks like I kind of lucked out here. I have a couple of... I want to go running back, I think, again to secure one of my flex spots. And I'm torn between David Montgomery, Todd Gurley, and James Conner here.
I got my eye on David Montgomery. I don't think he's going to last, but...
I think I'm going to go James Conner.
All right. So after James Conner, for the AI goes Carson Wentz, Stephon Diggs, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Cortland Sutton. It is quarterback time, and my guy is still on the board. My guy, Matthew Stafford.
That's a good pick.
So now we go receiver. Tyler Lockett, T.Y. Hilton after me, so it's back to me here. And my other guy, David Montgomery, still on the board. I will go running back again with him.
Oh, fuck. I was hoping Robert Woods would stay.
There's the next pick after me. So Robert Woods after David Montgomery, and then Devin Singletary, Baker Mayfield, David Johnson, Daniel Jones.
All right.
So you are pretty well set it. I think you need a receiver here.
I think so. I am also looking at quarterbacks. I was really hoping that one of those dudes in this crop was going to survive. Really, I was looking at Matthew Stafford. I was hoping he'd fall to the next pick, but wasn't meant to be. Looking at the overall rankings.
This quarterback list here is getting kind of thin.
Oh, man, DJ Moore's still on the board. Oh. Yep. I took DJ Moore. And Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Todd Gurley went. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just take a quarterback here because looking at the... Oh, fuck. I'm looking at this list here. I mean, man, maybe I can't... I'm really torn on if I should wager some marbles here and wait at quarterback to see if I can get one of these dudes. I'm really tempted to take Tom Brady here, but there's some dudes later on. Like, I'm really thinking about Cam Newton or Joe Burrow down there. And looking at my depth here, man, I don't know if it's worth it. Boy. I'm going to pick Tom Brady.
All right.
I feel like I might regret that, but...
All right, then we go DJ Chark, Kerryon Johnson, Keenan Allen, who I had my eye on Keenan Allen, Zach Ertz, Mark Andrews. So we do have to roster a tight end, correct?
Yep.
I should probably get one. I will go... Well, let's see, what else are we looking at? What are we working with here? Michael Gallup, that's interesting to me. Ooh, A.J. Green is looking nice. Devontae Parker's in here still. I think receiver, there's still some depth available here. Running back, there's some guys here. What's my running back situation? Oh, fuck, I gotta pick somebody. Oh, I got 3 running backs. I'm good. Let's go tight end. Let's go Hunter Henry. I don't know.
Okay. All right, so Jimmy G and Mark Ingram went off the board after that.
All right, let's
Back
try
to
again.
Sam.
Oh, I should probably get another quarterback here for Superflex. Jared Goff, Phillip Rivers, Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins.
We got a lot of rounds left, so if you feel like you don't need to take one now.
I'm not liking what's on the board here. I will go Michael Gallup, wide receiver.
Okay. Oh boy, wide receiver run there. Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, Darren Waller, Jarvis Landry, Ronald Jones.
Yeah, I was also thinking AJ Green there. They're all off the board.
Boy, so I'm looking here. I got 2 quarterbacks. Since we have kind of deep benches, I think I might, if the situation presents itself, I may try to take one later on as a depth piece. But right now, I think it makes the most sense here. I'm staring Kareem Hunt in the face. I think that he has RB1 upside if Nick Chubb goes down, and I think he has flex play. I mean, any given week, given what we saw last year. Just checking to make sure. Terry McLaurin's also on the board. I think I got to go Hunt, and I think I know who I want next. I hope he's still on the board. Oh, boy, he is, because this algorithm has not removed Darius Geis.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
So Will Fuller, Marlon Mack, Sam Darnold went off the board, and then Darius Geis, which is just sleeper fucking up.
Incorrect.
So the person I'm targeting next is Jonathan Taylor here, I think.
All right.
So I have my roster pretty much filled out, and that means that I can basically pick Jonathan Taylor, wait out the inevitable first couple of games of the season where he likely will not be the guy for the Colts. They're probably going to go with Marlon Mack. But sooner rather than later, he's going to end up being the guy in that backfield. And seeing him, as talented as he is behind the Colts offensive line, I mean, I'm excited for it. So pencil me in, Jonathan Taylor, the 9th round.
Bit of a lottery ticket, and that'll see if that pays off for you. Let's see. After that, we have Terry McLaurin off the board, Phillip Rivers, J.K. Dobbins, Marquise Brown, Phillip Lindsay. So I got my eye on a couple of receivers here. I like Devontae Parker.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Cooks, T. Higgins off the board, and I will take another receiver. I will take Christian Kirk.
All right. So after Christian Kirk, Michael Pittman went off the board, Julian Edelman, Darrell Henderson, Juju Smith-Schuster went in the 10th fucking round for some reason. What the hell? Evan Ingram, and so here we are. I am looking at my roster, and oh man, I really probably need a receiver here, but
you have 5 running backs, only have 2 receivers.
I don't like any of these receivers.
Now you got a lottery ticket with, well, you could stack CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott.
That's true.
A lot of rookies up here now.
I think what I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk here. I think given the news about Jalen Hurd going down with the torn ACL, Deebo Samuel might not start the season, it's almost a given that he's going to be in the starting lineup. I don't know how productive he'll be because he's a rookie, but I think there's a fair shot he's going to be on the field. So after I picked Brandon, it went Raheem Mostert, Jared Goff, Rob Gronkowski, Laviska Shenault. So back to me. I am looking at roster situation here. I still got to get a tight end. I am looking at the tight end, and boy, it is starting to thin out pretty good. What do we have here still? I think I'm going to take a tight end here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Tyler Higbee here, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him.
So next up off the board, Austin Hooper, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Williams, Sony Michel, and... Yeah, not Tony Michel.
Tony Michel.
Hey, TJ Hawkinson. Now we're back to me. I am going to go tight end as well. I already have Hunter Henry. I'm going to get your guy, Hayden Hurst.
Oh, yeah.
So there's Sterling Shepard, Alex Madison off the board, and now I need another quarterback. I can super flex here. Boy, Ben Roethlisberger seems like low-hanging fruit
Gardner
there.
Minshew, man.
No, I don't want Gardner Minshew. Drew Lock's kind of a wild card. Ryan Tannehill feels like a wild card. Kirk Cousins kind of boring.
Cam Newton.
Boy, Joe Burrow. How about Dallas Goedert, tight end?
Hell yeah. What? A bit of an unexpected pick, Sam. All right, so after Dallas Goedert, Marvin Jones, Zach Moss, Matt Breida, Denzel Mims, and Curtis Samuel went off the board. Cool. So we're in the territory, I think, where I'm comfortable taking some of these lottery ticket receivers, and I think I'm going to go... Actually, I'm not going to do that. I think I'm actually going to go Latavius Murray here. Latavius Murray is a guy I'm definitely targeting in a lot of drafts because he's another dude like Kareem Hunt where he's a handcuff that becomes an RB1 if the starter goes down. So that's kind of my philosophy is these bench dudes. I'm definitely investing more in lottery tickets than I'm investing in depth pieces.
We gotta get defense in this shit.
Oh, apparently, yeah. I realized that was still in for. We don't have to. You don't have to draft it. You just don't draft it. I'm not gonna draft one probably.
Oh, but you could flex defense. Play defense as a flex.
No.
Oh, you can't do that.
I don't think so.
So why would you even draft one of these?
It was in the settings. I realized that defense was in there before.
No.
When I said that it wasn't, I realized it was. Anyway, I think here I'm gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna go Anthony Miller. I like targeting him at the end of drafts too.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go quarterback here. I feel good about getting a quarterback. Boy, Kirk Cousins this late seems actually like a good pick. That's fun.
It seems like people are done picking quarterbacks here. Oh, Joe Burrow.
I'll take Joey Buckets. Hell, give me Cam Newton. Give me another quarterback.
Okay.
So now we got a bunch of defenses coming off the board.
I'm going to go ahead and take Gardner Minshew, I think, here. I think that Jags are going to be throwing the ball a lot. Their defense is terrible. They're going to be behind. I think he's a good complement to a quarterback like Tom Brady in the super flex position because Tom is not going to huck it. That means he likely won't have a ton of huge games, but he's going to have a reasonable floor given his offense and the weapons he has there, I'd imagine. So I think, just making sure their buys don't line up. I'm going to go Gardner. All right, so San Francisco 49ers defense, A.J. Dillon, Emmanuel Sanders, Jordan Howard. All right, last pick here. So, oh boy, I didn't realize this. So this algorithm, man, is something. There's all these dudes that aren't going off the board, and they should probably be long gone. This is an easy pick for me. I see that DeAndre Swift is still on the board. Probably just going to take him because he has the potential to be the starting running back in Detroit there. Not really an awe-inspiring offense, but, I mean, any chance you get to take a dude who has the potential to be a starting running back, you do, just because there's, not a whole lot of dudes who have that capability. See, Cam Akers is still on the board, too, which is amazing.
Also David Johnson.
Oh, what? That's Duke Johnson.
Oh, is it? I see D. Johnson. I don't know.
It's Duke Johnson.
Dang it. Tariq Cohen just came off the board. That was my guy. Let's see. I kind of wanted a running back, so I only have
Cam Akers.
I have three. Tony Pollard.
Oh, yeah.
The Ezekiel Elliott handcuff.
All right. So that was something. It solved some problems. Did not solve others.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does that.
Kirk Cousins undrafted. Ben Roethlisberger undrafted. That seems not right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know, running backs, I don't know. Chase Edmonds was a guy I was considering to pair with Kenyon Drake, who I have right now. But receiver wise, Sammy Watkins, that's a plug and play guy if you need him in a pinch. If you want a piece of that Kansas City offense. Yeah. Jared Cook that was a surprising one that he didn't get drafted.
It is surprising because I thought he'd rank a little higher, but I am not. I'm not inspired by the idea of taking Jared Cook.
I'm above not inspired. I'm somewhere between maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. He was good last year, I guess, but he's 33, and I don't know. I guess he's in that tight end 1 conversation, that tier, but I mean, certainly he should have gone off the board before some of these dudes. I don't know why the fuck. Well, Dallas Goedert's in the 12th round there, Sam. Followed very quickly by, or I guess that's not.
Dallas Goedert gets targets, man.
He does get targets. I like the Dallas Goedert pick a lot more than the O.J. Howard pick in the 13th round there by Team AI. And a lot better than Irv Smith in the 14th round.
Well, O.J. Howard, is tough with Gronk being there.
I drafted O.J. Howard last year, and so he's. I know you can't do that game where you just don't pick somebody because they did you dirty in a fantasy year. Like statistically, that's not an intelligent thing to do. But I'm 1,000% doing that with O.J. Howard. Absolutely. I understand that you could pick him as a lottery ticket, but man, forget it.
I mean, that's why I would never touch Eric Ebron ever again.
Him too, yeah. Him too. Eric Ebron, O.J. Howard.
Kenyon Drake was was heading down that path until he got traded to the Cardinals last year.
Yeah. And, I mean, Devontae Parker, too, before he blew up.
Yeah.
And that's why he's going so late. Like, Sam got Devontae Parker in the 9th fucking round. Devontae Parker was like, fuck. He was a top 10 wide receiver for a stretch last year.
Yeah, towards the end of the season last year, he was putting up numbers.
He's going after Marquise Brown. He's going after. I mean, you took Michael Gallup, but he should go way earlier than that. He's a good wide receiver. So let's go ahead and dissect some of our rosters and see what we did good, what we did bad, what we'd like to do better. That's always what I like to do after these things. Just look over and I mean, I already kind of know. Like in the middle of the draft, you can kind of tell. Like when you do a pick, it's like I don't know. But let's go from top to bottom. So let's start with you, Sam. So you went Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill with your first couple picks. What do you feel? What do you feel there?
That matches 1-to-1 exactly what I did in the Dynasty draft. I feel good about that. I have my steady floor possession receiver in Devontae Adams, and then I have my boomer bust guy with Tyreek Hill. Wide receiver 1 in that Kansas City offense. I feel fine about that. I love spinning the wheel on that Kansas City offense. Just give me some of that action, no matter what. In 3rd and 4th rounds here, we went running back, got Kenyon Drake, who I like in that Arizona offense. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, another piece of the Kansas City offense. I'm just a little concerned just for the first month of the season with Clyde Edwards-Helaire just being a rookie and getting acclimated to the NFL and pass protections and all that, and being on the field. But once I think he's acclimated mid-season on, I feel like that's where he's going to be a major player. Then I went quarterback. Matthew Stafford, very productive, typically a very productive receiver, or not receiver, productive quarterback. Game flow seems to probably be helping. I'm sure they'll be down quite a bit. They'll probably be around a 6-10 team, so plenty of passing opportunities late in games. David Montgomery, kind of so my thought here with this roster would be I'd play Kenyon Drake, and then also in the other running back spot, play David Montgomery to start the season. Especially with that Chicago offense, I don't think there's any confidence in throwing the ball. It's just kind of a double-edged sword because then you have defenses game planning and such and stacking the box against it. But David Montgomery was solid last year, so I hopefully there's a step from year 1 to year 2 there. He's the bell cow back in that offense. So far I don't have any real issues here with what I did.
I guess, well, before you get on any further, I don't know what to think about David Montgomery because, like you said, he is clearly the bell cow back in Chicago, and they will probably be better this year than they were last year. But, man, getting him in the sixth, so he's going, let's see, behind people like Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, and right alongside folks like Devin Singletary, David Johnson. I like him a lot better than both of those dudes. Devin Singletary, David Johnson. Todd Gurley, it's a bit of a toss-up between Todd Gurley and David Montgomery. Honestly, I think I'd probably take Todd Gurley almost over David Montgomery. It really is like they're right next to each other, though, because I just don't know.
And I would go the other way with it, comparing those two, just for because of the injury of the medical red flags with Todd Gurley. If you're getting a relatively healthy and young David Montgomery, that was kind of my thinking there with Todd Gurley still on the board. But yeah, I think that was a good value pick this late in the draft in the 6th. 7th round, I panicked for a tight end here. I didn't need to take Hunter Henry. I didn't necessarily love Hunter Henry. He had Zach Ertz and Mark Andrews go right before him. Mark Andrews would have been nice to have gotten. Darren Waller maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all out on the LA Chargers offense, man. There was a good Fantasy Pros. They were analyzed. They hate LA as well, but a good solid fact that they keep bringing up, and it's just one singular thing, so it's important to not hone in on one thing, but I believe that the average number of passing attempts, like they averaged out Phillip Rivers, and then they averaged out Tyrod Taylor, and everybody is just about projecting LA to throw the ball. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. They will have 100 less passing attempts, and probably more than that this year.
Compared to last season.
Correct. And so the idea of losing 100 passing attempts, and you still have Keenan Allen there, you still have Mike Williams there, you still have Austin Eckler there, who's probably going to get a lot of the passing work as well, especially from somebody like Tyrod Taylor, who isn't necessarily known for airing it out per se. The idea of, that's why a lot of people are also down on Keenan Allen, because Keenan Allen is definitely the prototypical definition of almost a possession style receiver. He gains the bulk of his fantasy production on the back of getting 10 targets a game, and so with that, it could be there, it could also not be there. I think that LA's trying to put themselves in a position to run the ball a little bit more, upgrading their right tackle position with Brian Bulaga from Green Bay. I just don't. Maybe if Justin Herbert steps into the fold sooner rather than later, and he isn't bad. But I know that I don't think either of us are very high on Justin Herbert.
No, and that's a big shoulder shrug, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. If he gets in the fold, I think the passing options open up in LA, but even then, I don't know. It's really hard to gamble on any of those dudes when there are just, looking at Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen went really late in our draft. He went in that same round, or did he? He did, right? Yeah, there he is. But he went ahead of folks like, I like Michael Gallup, frankly, a lot better. I like AJ Green a lot better.
We'll get into that here, right?
Tyler Boyd, even.
Yeah, after Hunter Henry, I went Michael Gallup, Devontae Parker, Christian Kirk, receiver.
Devontae Parker for sure, better.
I think I got pretty good value there. The number 2 receiver for the Cowboys, the number 1 for the Dolphins, and the number 2.5, maybe 3, depending on what you think of Larry Fitzgerald. But Christian Kirk in that Arizona offense, I feel really good about my depth at receiver, pairing those with my top 2 picks, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. So those 5 receivers, I feel fantastic about. If I can replicate that in any way on Sunday,
I like Michael Gallup a lot. Yeah. I think Michael Gallup is a guy that is getting slept on pretty hard because of CeeDee Lamb. But
Yeah.
man, I think Randall Cobb. They said Randall Cobb had like 89 targets last year, and Jason Witten had like over 100.
And
So
guys
those are all
both
gone. Yeah, I mean you can easily slot CeeDee Lamb in for all of Randall Cobb's targets, and then there's still the targets that Michael Gallup was he had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, he was a decent producer last season with those with a lot of those targets going to other guys. So
Yeah, I mean right. I don't think that Michael Gallup is going anywhere, and I think that certainly with those other factors, when you kind of piece those puzzle pieces together, it's I think he's going way too late, and I think that he's going to be really productive there in Dallas, especially with CeeDee Lamb. No training camp, no preseason. They're going to rely on him and Amari Cooper for sure. And now that Jason Witten's out of there, Blake Jarwin as the tight end. It's lined up perfectly.
yes, yeah. And speaking of tight ends, I take two more here after Christian Kirk, Hayden Hurst. That's your guy. You're real big on him in that Atlanta offense. So fine. And then Dallas Goedert, which I guess I'm higher on Dallas Goedert than you are. The Eagles deploy that two tight ends. They're two tight ends pretty equitably, pretty equally relative to I think a lot of other teams. So I don't know. It's 12th round, whatever. And then so I only had one quarterback, so I'm gonna go super flex. Wanted to get two more quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, Cam Newton. Joe Burrow's just a lottery ticket. We'll see what he turns into. Cam Newton. Kind of see what he fits into, how he fits into that New England offense, what they do with him exactly. So those are kind of wait and see. Early season, I probably wouldn't play either of those right off the bat. Just kind of feel them out first. And then last round pick Tony Pollard. Get the handcuff for Ezekiel Elliott.
I like the quarterback play there at the end. You didn't invest a lot of draft capital in them, so yeah, if either of them, like if Cam Newton it sucks, you can just cut him, and then you got Joe Burrow there, who, he'll take have some growing pains probably as a rookie, but I guess between the two of them, you can certainly kind of hedge your bets there a little bit if one or two of them are slower than the other.
It certainly keeps the super flex in play. Potentially, but I also with the run of receivers I got, I don't necessarily feel that I have to play a quarterback in that super flex spot.
Right? No, not at all. I don't know. I don't know about Dallas Goedert. You're right. They do play a ton of two tight ends, and Dallas Goedert got a ton of work. And certainly if Zach Ertz goes down, Dallas Goedert immediately is in the conversation for, not just tight end one tier, but like tight end one overall for sure. Because Philly just uses their tight end position a ton, and frankly, with their wide receiver depth, it's not a crazy idea to think that the tight end position is possibly going to be the most valuable receiving option there. Given their receiving core, Alshon Jeffrey likely starts the season on PUP. Deshaun Jackson is 34 years old. Jalen Reagor's a rookie, and Greg Ward is said to be starting over J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Given those options, it would not be the craziest thing if Dallas Goedert emerged as a serious threat.
Yeah,
I just don't like it when he's buried behind Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I think that's when you look at it that way. It's like, well, why wouldn't you just split two tight ends out there? In just terms of pure receiving, creates your best matchups.
Right, you almost just by default run 12 personnel because why wouldn't you when both these dudes are studs?
Yes.
So in any case,
your turn. What do you got?
All right. Okay. Looking at my draft, I think I feel better actually about it looking it over after the fact. Let's go.
I don't like your draft.
You what?
I don't like your draft here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, do you have any initial thoughts off the back? I'll ask you that first.
Yeah, my initial thoughts is you got 4 receivers rostered and I'm not in love with your receiving core. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I've been doing this experiment a little bit in the mock drafts that I've had. I've been trying to go a little bit more running back heavy in these mock drafts than to rely. I agree with you that I didn't realize how fast the wide receiving options thinned out after I took. Let's see. Trying to find the round here. I don't like that my next receiver after DJ Moore was Brandon Ayuk. But in any case, I mean, I was looking at some of the dudes here. I'll go through it. So at the third overall, I took Saquon Barkley. I've really been back and forth on whether or not if Pat Mahomes is available here, taking him. I don't think I really like doing that because there's a lot of good stud workhorse running backs that go off the board immediately. Frankly, I think I got pretty lucky landing Joe Mixon with the round 2 pick. He's probably the only guy that I would have considered if Joe Mixon wasn't there. Well, I guess Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kenyon Drake. For some reason, Sleeper is putting them really low. I don't know why. I guess they were still available. But I like starting off the draft with two dudes, just two stud running backs, knowing that piece is fulfilled. And then from there, I kind of like to pivot and see what the landscape looks like. If Julio Jones would have fell to my pick, I think I would have taken him. I really like landing if one of those wide receivers falls to that spot in the round 2 there, between Julio, Devontae Adams really isn't there usually, but him, DeAndre Hopkins, and Julio, if one of them falls there, I'm tempted to take them almost depending on who's available.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now when we do this for real, my strategy will be to basically replicate what I did here, go receiver at the end of the first, top of the second, just get two studs right off the bat. I would deviate from that if which I don't anticipate this happening, but if Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are both on the board, I might try and super stack them together.
And that wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. That'd probably be pretty smart.
I doubt that's going to happen. I'm sure someone's going to grab one or if not both of those guys are going to be gone by the time it gets to me.
Maybe not, though. I don't know. So anyway, moving on. I took Dak Prescott in the third round there. So in this next, my strategy is if I don't take a Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in the first round, which usually I don't, I want to end up with somebody in that. So they're both in a singular tier, kind of above the rest of the pack, and then in that top tier right below them, I have Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. And in that pack, I mean, I think Russell Wilson is the top dude for me. Followed pretty quick, close behind by Deshaun Watson / Dak Prescott. So really, if I can land one of those dudes, I think in the second or third round, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Get a dude who's like a bona fide, he's going to produce and he's going to, have high-level QB1 play. That's kind of what I'm looking for. One of those guys up there. All those guys have their own sort of hitches. I don't really like Kyler Murray very much. I think that there's a lot of hype surrounding Arizona that reminds me of Cleveland, and I don't like that. Russell Wilson is a guy that I really like, but I just don't expect him to fall. Deshaun Watson is dealing with Bill O'Brien and the offensive woes there.
And
losing DeAndre.
Lost the top option.
Yeah, there's still a lot of dudes there, but it's really hard to say what's going to happen because there's so many changes there. He's a great quarterback, but I just don't know. I think I'd feel a little bit more confident if there was training camp and preseason, but just don't know. And then Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott had a career year last year, and he returns most of the pieces and adds CeeDee Lamb into the fold. So I feel good about taking him there in the third round. So at that point, it kind of goes around, comes back to me. I took Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is another dude that I really like him. I kind of got lucky in this draft, honestly, and this will not happen in the real draft, where I was able to land DJ Moore. I don't like taking Calvin Ridley as my wide receiver one. That's no good, because he's obviously not the wide receiver one in his own team, and it's a lot to kind of ask for Matt Ryan to support two dudes who would be two wide receiver ones. He's definitely the guy he's basically last year's Chris Godwin, where he's receiving a ton of hype, and there's a lot of people that really think he's going to explode into. He's basically, like Chris Godwin was, sitting in that wide receiver 2 territory, and people expect him to make the jump to wide receiver 1 territory. Whether or not that happens is, a matter to be seen. He could produce a lot, but it's tough to say. If Todd Gurley stays healthy through the entire year, I expect that Calvin Ridley probably won't then, because I think Todd Gurley will probably take a lot of the passing work, the dump-off stuff, and I think Atlanta wants to be able to run the ball a little bit more efficiently, which is obviously why they signed Todd Gurley. So I took him. I like him, but as a wide receiver 1, he's probably not that. So right there, right when I took him, I was kind of like, oh boy, I gotta find a dude to pair with him that's gonna, be a stud. And after he was really, I was looking at Allen Robinson to hopefully be able to take in the 5th round, and then he went off the board. And I was like, fuck. So that kind of dished away that plan. So on the board still was James Conner. James Conner, as the 3rd running back on my team, I don't know. It's fine. I like him as he's also a bit of a lottery ticket. In another situation kind of like Todd Gurley, where if he plays all 16 games, he's in the RB1 tier conversation for sure, and he's proven that he can be efficient and produce at an elite level. It's just there's a lot of concerns and a lot of scaries associated with his health, and the Steelers drafted a running back this year, so it remains to be seen if he's totally good to go. And with the COVID season, there were a lot of concerns on whether or not he would opt out, because he's obviously a cancer survivor. So there are a lot of folks that didn't necessarily expect him to play. He said he is going to play, so that's, I don't know, we'll see. But he, as a depth piece, I kind of like him being on the bench as a bit of a stash or even a flex play. He disappointed a lot of people last year, and that it's showing in his average draft position. But anyway, getting him there, I don't mind it. And then on the turn around there, I was able to land DJ Moore, which, like I said before, I probably won't be able to do that, but he was the best possible thing that I could probably get there to complement somebody like Calvin Ridley. DJ Moore will likely be a wide receiver 1 this year. Different offense with Carolina, so there's a lot of question marks there, but he was a stud last year. Following that, I took Tom Brady, and in the draft, you folks obviously probably just listened to, I was a little hesitant to take him. I was between him and DJ Chark, and looking back on this, if I could have gone back, I probably would have gone the other way, taking DJ Chark there.
Yeah, I'll get another receiver to bolster that your depth there a little bit would have been, I think, the play.
Yep. DJ Chark is a stud, and getting him and DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley would have probably made me feel a lot better about my roster. But I didn't, and that's why we do these things, so we can learn. So on the next round, I took Kareem Hunt. And this is kind of like I was explaining mid-draft, but I think my strategy in these later rounds, like 9, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth, kind of after the starting roster is more or less set, I'm trying to take dudes with a little bit higher upside, some dudes that can potentially provide a ton of value later on in the season. And Kareem Hunt is definitely in that category. Kareem Hunt, I mean, like we saw last year, I mean, provided a ton of value despite being the backup to Nick Chubb. And with COVID and with injuries and everything going on this season, I think Kareem Hunt is a dude who I definitely want to try to get on my roster and stash him on my bench because he fits the mold perfectly of a dude who, he might not provide value necessarily right away, but there's a better chance than quite a few people that he could return value and more on the price you're getting at him at in drafts right now. And following the turn there in the 9th round, I picked Jonathan Taylor there. He's another dude who I think, honestly, between the two of these dudes, if I can get one of them in the draft, I'd be happy. Because they both kind of fit the exact same description of what I was just saying, where I think that, Jonathan Taylor has a little bit better of a chance to retain that RB1 title on his team. But both of them kind of present this option of, you kind of probably have to let these guys sit and grow a little while before really getting a feel for what the offense has in store for them, and see what they have. But they both have a ton of potential to return a ton of value on the place that you're getting them in the draft. So following this, I mean, here on out, I don't know. I'll just say right now, getting DeAndre Swift at the very last pick in the 15th round is also a mistake. I'm not going to be able to do that. But after that, I took Brandon Ayuk. I don't particularly enjoy this pick, but looking at the people around him, I'm going to look at all the people that are not Juju Smith-Schuster because that is also another mistake. Having him be there in the 10th round I don't think that's supposed to happen. Looking at some of these other receivers, I don't know. I probably should have waited and maybe gone for somebody like Marvin Jones to make sure that there was a safe floor on my wide receiving core. Brandon Ayuk is fine. I just don't know because he's a rookie and on an offense that's destined to run the ball. So I don't know. I want to like him, but I don't know. And then I took Tyler Higbee there on the turn here, and people that were still on the board, Austin Hooper, TJ Hawkinson, Hayden Hurst. I'd have liked to take Hayden Hurst, but I think I was going to go for him, honestly, in the 12th round. It was a little too...
Yeah,
it was,
caught.
Yeah.
Trying to be greedy. Yeah, so you only have one tight end rostered right now.
Yeah, I probably would have. I took Tyler Higbee, and so I probably wouldn't have gone for Hayden Hurst in the 12th round, given that. But I was thinking about
13,
taking
14, 15 somewhere later if he was still available somehow.
Yeah, maybe. I guess I didn't think Hayden Hurst for some reason would be available after the 11th round / the beginning of the 12th round. I thought somebody was going to take him, and in some of the mock drafts that I've been doing, Hayden Hurst has been slowly rising and rising. And I don't particularly like that. They acquired him for some pretty decent draft capital, which would indicate that Atlanta really wants to use Hayden Hurst, but it's really hard to put any significant investment in him. Just kind of looking at the offense a little bit, I'm hesitant to just go, say 1-for-1, Hayden Hurst is going to just absorb all of Austin Hooper's targets. Certainly with Todd Gurley entering the fold, I think really the big thing with Atlanta and a huge reason why they signed him is because Todd Gurley did catch a lot of passes in LA, and that's something that Devonta Freeman did not do particularly well in Atlanta. So I imagine some of those targets are going to go to somebody like Todd Gurley as long as he stays healthy. And then, like I was saying before, Calvin Ridley, I think he should probably get more targets this year, but, anyway. So I hate to take Hayden Hurst before I want to take him, and so I don't know. I think
Yeah, there's just a lot of mouths to feed in that Atlanta offense.
Yeah.
What it comes down to.
And so that was all in my head, and I think honestly I faltered a little bit at this pick. And if I could go back on it, I'd probably not take Tyler Higbee. Probably go for somebody else here. Looking around the board here, maybe not. I don't know. Tyler Higbee's fine. More or less the problems I have with he was an extremely efficient tight end down the stretch last year. I think he had in his final like 4 games or something, 5 games, he had like 600 yards receiving. It's just really tough to see what's going to happen in LA. And they obviously have Gerald Everett there. So this is kind of like the same argument I was having with Sam, not argument, but like what I was using to justify me not liking Dallas Goedert. LA has the same thing going on, but even worse. Like they have 2 tight ends that are much closer in terms of skill than Zach Ertz, and maybe not. I wouldn't even say that, but I think that they're regarded, I'd say, on the same level, not like the Eagles have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. There's a clear hierarchy there where Zach Ertz is tight end 1, Dallas Goedert's tight end 2. But there's similar skill level. In the LA, there's similar skill level, but I think that they're basically like 1A, 1B.
Yeah, they're both below, I think, the Eagles guys.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So he got a lot of work, and with the departure of Brandon Cooks and the LA seeming to really enjoy running 12 personnel, and I'm expecting them to do that more this year, certainly with the departure of Todd Gurley and them coming out and basically saying we're going to have a running back by committee approach. It would make sense to have 12 personnel given their offensive line woes from last year. So he probably will be on the field a lot, but I don't know. I don't particularly like getting Tyler Higbee in drafts. If I can land somebody like, let's see here. I really like it if Darren Waller falls, if he falls far. Or Hayden Hurst is another guy that, I like. I wish I could look at the player list here. I can't look at it anymore on my computer. Or, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like getting one of those top tier dudes a little bit more because tight end is a position that I know that it's typically you stream it and that's how a lot of dudes do it, but man, it feels kind of good to sit in a league where you get like one of those higher end tight ends and you can just like sit on them. And you don't have to worry about like the tight end market or like going through with these dudes. Like you could just kind of play them. Like last year in our league, I got kind of lucky and picked up Hunter Henry after he came back from his whatever he did, where he's out the first like 4 or 6 games of the year. I picked him up, and man, it was nice just to have a dude that it's like, all right.
Yeah, one last thing you got to dig through the waiver wire for.
Exactly. And then I'll just blow through these last couple of dudes. I took Latavius Murray, Anthony Miller, Gardner Minshew. So Gardner Minshew, I explained basically my rationale for taking him there. I just think Jags are going to throw a lot this year. They're going to be behind a lot. So just by pure volume, I think Gardner Minshew is worth a flyer at least. And, I said before, but I'm pairing him with somebody like Tom Brady, who's the almost exact opposite, who's going to be very conservative in his playmaking, probably not score a lot of score a lot of fantasy points, I should say. So just having those two dudes to kind of sit on and see what happens. I took Latavius Murray because he's a guy that, has RB1 upside if his depth piece goes away. Anthony Miller because I'm kind of trying to buy low almost on the Bears offense. Like I was saying to Sam in the draft, I think that they're probably primed to be at least a little bit better this year because they were historically bad last year. So they probably should be better, hopefully, with me buying in. And I like Anthony Miller. He's shown that he can be a pretty decent wide receiver too, but it really all depends on the quarterback play if Nick Foles / Mitch Trubisky can pull it together. So looking at my draft, there's a couple of critiques that, you said one of them already, wide receiver depth. That's the biggest one, I think, that I fucked up. But also, I think I just probably should have invested in some more complementary pieces. I invested in a lot of lottery tickets here, and I'm not sure I particularly enjoyed that. Looking at some dudes, I think I'd definitely switch out some pieces here. I'm not particularly sure which of these, because especially with some of these dudes, like getting DeAndre Swift at the back end there, that wouldn't happen, and getting DJ Moore where I got him, that probably wouldn't happen either. So removing those two dudes, that's kind of, I'm taking those guys out of the equation and looking at my team like that. I probably would have drafted a wide receiver where I took James Conner, and I probably would have taken, either a higher end tight end so that I could, make sure that position was producing at a more reasonable rate, or I probably would have invested in a high floor play, somebody like Marvin Jones or Jamison Crowder, a wide receiver 3 basically, where I know they're going to get production, and they're going to score points, but somebody to complement, I guess, some of these pieces where I'm like Brandon Ayuk. I probably would not have taken him. I probably would have invested in somebody that was gonna produce, albeit maybe not on like the wide receiver 1 level, but somebody that's gonna score me points. Not like, Brandon Ayuk has the potential to just give me like a goose egg here, just because we don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think philosophically, you and I are a little different. I'm all in on the strategy of going heavy on wide receivers, and just kind of interchanging them week to week in terms of roster construction, and just kind of having two or three good to okay-ish running backs, and then just really putting a lot of darts on the board, having a lot of interchangeability with wide receivers, where you're going. The sense I get, you're going heavy on. Well, it helps that you're picking at the top or near the front of the draft here too. You can get Saquon, get one of those, one of the chalk top 5 picks, one of those top running backs. I'm a little more concerned, or I'm not as aggressive with my quarterback play. I think I'm content to kind of wait till the middle of the draft and scoop up a Matthew Stafford type guy, or some of those middle tier or maybe upper middle tier guy, and then maybe try to find some value at the back end. So I think strategically, I'm good with what I did. A couple pieces, maybe flip-flop a little around, but I don't know. We'll see what happens for real on Sunday.
Yeah, I guess it's your philosophy of going like heavy wide receiver here is interesting, because it's almost like the entire sleeper mock community is almost the exact opposite, where it's very RB heavy, and typically, like certainly in regular drafts, like just regular half PPR, 12 team, whatever, 12 or 10 team, whatever. You typically almost have to go running back at your first 2 picks, otherwise you're looking at like some real fucking dumpster picks at your 3rd round guy. Like you're looking at picking, basically, let me see here. Like the David Johnsons or the Devin Singletaries of the world, like these dudes where it's like, I don't really know if I like want you as like the RB2. Certainly, if you did what you did, take 2 like wide receivers in the first 2 rounds, like looking at one of those dudes as your like RB1, it's like, oh, absolutely not. Obviously, that's not what happened in this draft. You ended up with 2 dudes that are studs, and I don't think that that'll necessarily be a problem in Superflex. But
no, definitely the strategy I'm playing is a little bit contrarian. Trying to take advantage of the chalk plays of all the running backs coming off the board pretty quick, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm gonna take Devontae 3rd overall.
Do it. I will gladly go pick a position that you don't pick.
I'm gonna take George Kittle. And
maybe that's what I should do. I should go Travis Kelce, George Kittle.
Oh, the tight end stack.
Do we get tight end bonus in this league?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not doing that.
Take a defense.
Maybe.
Um,
But
yeah.
if the top two, if Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are both on the board, I would definitely pull the trigger on that.
I know you would. That's almost why I want to take one of them if they're available.
And just
because I know
that.
I know that if nobody, I'm gonna be mad at myself if nobody takes one before your pick, and then they're both available for you to just grab 1-2. Because, like, fuck, man, I would be so angry if that ended up happening. Not angry. It would be scary to go up against you every single week, having both those dudes in play.
Yeah, I will gladly scoop up all the sloppy leftovers in every other position. I'll gladly play catch up the rest of the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the way to play fantasy drafts, too, anyway, right? Like, you kind of have to, right? Like, I'm saying that I like to go RB heavy here, but, like, that's really no way to approach a draft. Like, if, like, say, kind of like I was saying, if, like, Julio fell to that 2-8 spot, like, absolutely, I think I would have taken him instead of Joe Mixon. Going RB heavy or going wide receiver heavy, it's like, you obviously don't want to go into the draft thinking that, like, I'm going to take 2 wide receivers in the first 2 picks no matter what. Because then, yeah, you end up with, like, some shitty picks and end up with, like, certain situations. Like, there's a lot of people who have a super flex mentality where it's like you have to take your 2 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. Like, you want to have 2 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. And looking at our draft board, I'm like, that was in my head for sure when I took Dak Prescott, and then I'm kind of almost glad that I didn't, because the value in this draft in particular, especially at the end of the draft, there was a lot of it there. A lot of that was because the AI in this is fucked up, but there's quite a bit of depth here at the back end of the draft for sure. Like, a lot of dudes here, like Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Gardner Minshew, to name a couple. Like, all these dudes who you could probably get much later.
And just to swing back to strategy, I'm not necessarily married to going wide receiver heavy, but, if this thing goes the way it kind of did in this mock, where there's all the running backs, 4 of the top 5 picks are running backs, plus Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson came off, Ezekiel Elliott, Michael Thomas. So, okay, well, 1 wide receiver came off. I'll scoop up a couple wide receivers there and basically have my pick of the litter. If it goes a different way, if there's one wide receivers right at the top of the draft, I am A-okay if someone like Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara falls. Or Zeke or, someone like that inexplicably falls all the way back to the tail end of the first round.
Oh, Zeke almost did. Oh boy, I didn't see that until right now. So okay, let me wager you this. So if at the 1-9 spot there, let's say this. So let's say Lamar Jackson. I'll say that I'll give you a running back, a quarterback, and a wide receiver. That would all be at that spot. Okay.
All right.
So let's say at your spot, people are taken here, and you have Dalvin Cook, Lamar Jackson, and Michael Thomas all available. Which one do you pick?
Well, who else is still available yet that I can stack with at the turn?
Well, let's say instead of Dalvin Cook getting picked at the 104 there, Ezekiel Elliott is taken there, and Dalvin Cook falls to your spot.
Oh, so it's exactly the same here.
And instead of Lamar Jackson, we'll say that, I don't know, Derrick Henry was taken there.
Sure.
And Devontae Adams went. I'm not gonna say that, but we'll say Clyde Edwards-Helaire went at where Michael Thomas was taken.
Oh well, yeah. Give me Michael Thomas and Devontae at the turn.
Okay.
Or vice versa.
Let's say the person after you takes Devontae with one of their picks.
It could be DeAndre Hopkins or Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
if I can grab 2 of the top 4 receivers, and I guess Tyreek Hill is debatable if he's one of the top 4, but Julio's also in that conversation too. If I can get 2 of the top 5 receivers, I'm very much interested in that. If I can get 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks, I'm interested in that. Or if I can get, I'm not going to be. I don't think I will get 2 of the top 5 or 6 running backs. I don't think that's really going to be in play, but just stacking a pair of either quarterbacks or receivers at 1-9 and 2-2 together is very attractive to me. I mean, there's no reason I have to. I could go different positions, but just stacking 2 positions together and just having one position grouping on lock pretty much the whole season is it's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Got it. So just like by virtue of like how these things fall, you're just typically going to take 2 high-end wide receivers because that's generally how they fall.
Yeah.
Got it. Who are your top 4? What did you say they were?
Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, maybe Amari Cooper. I'm not going to take him in the first 2 rounds, though.
Okay.
Might be early for him, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess once you took those 2 dudes, you really didn't take a wide receiver until Michael Gallup there.
No, I mean, that's the idea is I'm going to go heavy early, and then I'm going to immediately try and play catch-up at running back after the fact.
Okay.
In the 3rd and 4th. After the 4th round, that's where things kind of go, it depends which way the wind's blowing. I could kind of loose cannon, but that would be, I would anticipate, if it goes wide receiver, I'm almost for sure going to go running back.
Okay. Let's say, let me pose another hypothetical for you. Let's say that Kenyon Drake and Clyde Edwards-Helaire were off the board by the time the pick rolled around to you at that 3-9 spot, and you're left with, let's just go, basically the rest of these dudes. Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon. Okay.
Give me Leonard Fournette. I'll take him. Melvin Gordon, no. I don't like that Denver running back committee.
What about some of these other dudes? So, okay, you said no to Melvin Gordon, yes to Leonard Fournette, but let's say that some of these dudes are still on the board. David Montgomery, Devin Singletary, David Johnson, Todd Gurley, James Conner, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I'd probably end up reaching for somebody in that group there.
But which of those dudes?
Yeah, I don't
particular.
know,
Okay.
Can I have Miles Sanders?
Maybe. He's rising too. He's one of those dudes that's really hard for me to buy in on for some reason. They keep saying he's the dude, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would just. I don't trust Lev Bell.
Me either.
Really, I don't know.
I don't trust Adam Gase. I trust Le'Veon Bell. I do not trust Adam Gase. Gase.
Yeah, I come back to Devin Singletary. That's a run-first heavy offense. Game script feels right there. They're going to be, a 10-win-ish team maybe, so they'll be pounding the ball quite a bit. Devin Singletary kind of is interesting to me. David Montgomery also, who I got later there. So I tell you what, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't really have so that's like my first 4 rounds. I kind of have a plan if it goes this way. But if the super stack quarterback, lineup is there, some combination of Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, maybe Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, I would maybe consider that. Some of those throwing Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson as part of that tandem. If I do act, if that presents itself and I act on that, what I do in round 3 and 4 is a big. The whole game plan goes out the window at that point. I don't know if I probably start splitting picks then.
Oh boy.
I'll go receiver, running back, or running back, receiver with those almost back-to-back picks.
Yeah.
Just to try and balance the roster.
That makes sense. I thought it was really good getting Matt Stafford as your first quarterback there in the 5th round, not taking a quarterback all the way into the 5th round in a super flex, I think is a ballsy play. And having a dude there that's waiting for you, certainly paid off there. There was a bit of a quarterback run right before your pick, but your dude was still on the board there.
Yeah, he was my guy. I would probably take him over most of these people that are picked right ahead of him.
Yeah, sir, I'd take him probably over folks like Drew Brees, probably even Aaron Rodgers.
Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. Yeah,
I don't know about Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, I think he's kind of like Matt Stafford. I think he gets slept on a little bit. Matt Stafford slept on even more because he was on pace for like a 5,000 yard season, I think, last year, something nuts like that. And then he got hurt, obviously. But I think Matt Ryan's kind of similar, where I think that the offense took a bit of a tick down last year. I think they're going to try to fire on all cylinders this year, and I think he's going to end up throwing quite a bit, especially if Todd Gurley gets hurt, because there is nobody behind Todd Gurley right now. It's like Quadre Allison. Okay. So I like him in that situation, but yeah, Matt Stafford there is fantastic. Man, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect because I'll tell you this. I just don't know if the folks in our league, and this is one of the reasons why, like, this in addition to, as well as the way that this whole thing is sorting, this, for whatever reason, Sleeper is sorting these picks in a weird fucking way. Like, I almost don't think that people are going to put the amount of value that they need to in at the quarterback position for the Superflex League. And so I'm thinking if I end up taking, like, at the third overall, if it does go Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, like it usually does, it's like, oh shit, if I take like Alvin Kamara here, does it just play out like a regular draft until it hits Sam, and then Sam goes Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and just runs train on the whole fucking league because nobody had the wherewithal to take one of those quarterbacks. And so it's like, oh, well, like, maybe that'll happen for any number of these picks. Like, maybe you can land some of these quarterbacks like real late. But anyway. Oh boy, I didn't realize it was an hour and a half already.
Yeah, we've really pontificated on this quite a bit, so we'll do it for real on Sunday and report back.
Yes, we will. Check in with us. We'll let you know how it went. I'm sure one of us will win the draft.
It'll be me if nobody picks a quarterback early.
That's right. It'll be Sam. It'll be Sam with his double wide receiver option. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, follow us, and check back in with us. We'll let you know how it went.
Bye.